Hello and welcome to week 6 of Beginning Networking 1. So this week we find ourselves studying chapter 5, TCP/IP protocols. So what we're going to have is chapter 5 is assigned for reading, and we're going to do the lab complete configuring IPv4 subnets. And these are the Professor Messer videos to watch this week. And these are simulations, so I want to talk to you about these just a little bit because these are going to be pretty important going forward. So I actually have those pulled up right here, and this is simulation number 2. So this site provides a good idea of what you're going to have to do on the exam. So they give you the word problem here of what you need to be able to do, and then they have clickables, graphical user interfaces that you'll have to go through and click, and you'll have to do the configurations as they specify up here to make this work. And then if you come down here and click show answer, then it pulls up the correct answers and shows you what you would have to do to make that work. And then they have the explanation down here. So if we go out here to the Network Plus, you can see that they have 13 of these simulations. So what I want you to do is go through all 13 of these, make sure that you understand them, and that you could do this type of problem on the test. And then they also have these sets here to go through as well. These are pretty good practice questions. So if you pull these up, they work the same way, and it shows you. Now, I can't verify that these are all correct because I didn't put them on here, and but in general, they're probably fairly valid and will give you an idea of what to expect on the test. If you run across any that you doubt the answer, then just dismiss it. And so just go through all of these and make sure that you're good with knowing how to do these. Down here is the next button, and you can just hit the next button. That was one we already looked at. So number 3 here, they're giving you a network, and they want you to set up some IP addresses and stuff, it looks like. So run through all these, make sure that you definitely know how to do these and that they make sense to you. Okay, so next, going back, think how do I comp TIA? Okay, so this is going to be pretty important. So I have this video here about how to take the exam, and I want you to watch the video. And then I have my tips here that I'm going to go over with you. Now, passing the exam, about 20 to 30% of it is just knowing how to deal with CompTIA because they're fairly tricky. So if you use these testing tips as you're taking practice tests and so forth, they should help you get more right. And then when you get to the exam, you've been using these testing tips for a while, and they should feel pretty natural to you. So these aren't going to help you on every single question if you decide to take the Network Plus exam, but if they help you on just a couple, that might be the difference between passing and not passing. So I'm going to go over these with you now and make sure that you understand these. So first of all, you have to answer all the questions on the exam. If you don't answer all the questions, then you're going to miss whatever ones you didn't answer, and they are going to count against you. They use the most correct answer. So there's going to be several correct answers. So what you're going to do is you're going to look for the most logical, least expensive, and the fastest. And they also have the 6-step troubleshooting methodology. So you have to figure out which step that they put you on and then select the correct answer using this criteria. So let me just give you a really simple example. So for instance, if they give you a question where the question says, the computer won't boot up. And they give you hard drive, memory, CPU, and power. Okay, all of those are correct answers, and all of those will stop the computer from booting up. But let's think about which step you're at. So you're at step number 1 because you just showed up, and all you know is that the computer won't boot up, so you need to do your troubleshooting. So would you open up the case and pull out the CPU or the hard drive or the memory right off the bat? Probably not. You'd probably look at the power cord, make sure it was plugged in and that the lights were coming on the machine and so forth. So my example was pretty simple, but on the test, they will have these type of questions, but the answers are closer together than my example. And so it's a little bit harder to tell which one might be the most logical, least expensive, or fastest. But if you can at least get it down to 2, then you have a much better chance of getting it right. So practice that. The next thing is they'll have really long paragraph style questions. And what they're trying to do on these is run you out of time on the exam. So there's 3 types of exams. You could get one that has 4 to 6 of the performance-based questions. If you get that one, you're probably only going to get 77 questions total because those ones take more time. If you only get 2 or 3, then you're probably going to get more of these long questions or multiple choice type questions. You will get all types of the questions, but you'll have a theme to your test. So if you get the first couple of these real long paragraph style questions, just treat it like a normal question. Read the last couple sentences, read the answers, and try and piece it together. That's the technique you're going to use if you start getting a lot of them. So for the first couple you get, just treat them like normal questions. Go ahead and read them, answer them, and move on. But if you notice that they keep coming and coming and coming, they're trying to run you out of time through reading, and they're trying to overwhelm you with details. Technique 2 is scan for CompTIA type words. And if you see like networking or router or something, a CompTIA type word, that might cue you in on where to start reading and save some time and avoid all of the distractions. For your multiple choice questions, terminology is going to help you out quite a bit. So back here on the course page somewhere, we have the CompTIA objectives. So right here I have that for you. And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom here, they have the section of the acronyms list. So if you can walk through this whole list and you can know the acronym, what it is spelled out, and understand what this acronym and word mean and apply it, then you will do better on the multiple choice questions. For instance, like if I ask you like a stupid question like, what do you use to write a letter? And I gave you mouse pad, sunflower seed, knife, and pencil. You probably know right off the bat that it's pencil, and that's because you know the terminology. This test is the same way. If you know all the terminology, it's a lot easier to see the pencils. So work through this, make sure that you are good with all these terms, and that should help quite a bit on your exam for multiple choice questions. Okay, so this is a fast-paced test if you decide to take it. You get 90 minutes, and you can have up to 90 questions. So that's basically a minute per question, and I want you to finish it in 70 to 75 minutes. This provides time to review any of the marked questions, and it doesn't force you into a situation where you're running out of time and you have to just guess at a bunch of them to finish it in time, because remember, you have to answer all the questions. Okay, so on your marked questions, this test gives you an opportunity to mark questions you're unsure of. So this is where people fail the exam. So what I want you to do is I want you to keep your marked questions to 10 or less, and when you mark the question, I want you to answer it with your best guess at that point. And at the end of the exam, don't change any of your answers unless you can justify why you're changing it. If you can't justify it, don't change it, because there's a good chance you got it right in the beginning. Read the question, think about what the answer should be, and then look for similar answers. So if you read the question and you start thinking about what the possible answers should be, if you see one that kind of matches up with what you were thinking, then that's a good possibility that that could be the answer. So, and a lot of times if you read the answers first or before you think about what the answer should be, they'll mislead you with the answers that they have in the as choices. So watch out for that. All, every, none. So all cars are red. No, they're not. A lot are, but not all. So if they have all, every, or none, or any of those type of words where they're classifying something as always true or false in an individual answer like A, B, C, or D. So if D says all computers are fast, then usually I don't even read those ones if they have the word in it, because it's too difficult to classify something as always one way or the other. So all computers are fast. No. They do another thing called grouping. And this is where they'll have two answers that are related to each other and two other answers. So in my sample here, I have, let's just say the computer won't boot up, and they give you memory, hard drive, and router switch. So router switch are network components, and hard drive and memory are internal components to a PC. So if the computer won't boot up, you should know it's router and switch have nothing to do with that, and because these are the network component groups. So it has to be the memory and hard drive. So even if you don't know which one for sure it is, if you pick the right group, then you improve your chances to 50% to getting it right. But then what you can do is fall back to this, and you're looking for the most correct answer, and you're looking for the most logical, least expensive, fastest. So if you think about this, it's much easier to replace memory than a hard drive. If you pull out someone's hard drive, you got to get a new hard drive, transfer all their files, get them back on the network and all their permissions and everything. So this is a lot more work. So this one is the one that fits this criteria. So in that case, it would be memory. Now, same thing on the exam. They're going to be closer grouped, and it's going to be a little bit harder to tell this, but if it helps you on a couple, could be the difference between passing and not passing. So take a good look, hard look at these on your practice questions, and try to see if you can notice these. Okay, so if you're totally going to guess because you've tried all this other stuff and nothing's worked, then look at the longest physical answer. And if it fits, statistically, there's a good chance that this answer is correct. Statistics say that it takes more words to make a true statement than a false statement. And generally on test, they're asking true statements. So if it's a true statement and you're guessing anyways, and the longest one, you can kind of see where it fits, then statistically, that's probably the one you should go with. And if that doesn't work and you're just going to do a wild guess, then when in doubt, see your way out. Now, this should only be for like a handful of questions that you just didn't know, like 5, maybe 6. But if you go with a pattern of C across the board, statistically you'll get more right than if you onesie twosie them like A, B, C, D, E, and so forth. That way you could potentially miss every single one. If you go with a pattern of C, statistically you should get maybe one or two right, and if you're really lucky, maybe another one or so. But this we're just trying to use statistics to improve the amount of questions you get right and hopefully get you to the passing score. So definitely watch this and then go through these and make sure that you use these and try to get good at this. Okay, so now I have the 12 tricky secrets to conquer the CompTIA certifications. And let's see, where did that bounce off to? So it's right here. So you can go through this, memorize your test objectives, practice. I don't agree with this one. Don't skip the strange exam questions. This here where it says there are beta questions, you won't know which ones are beta and which ones aren't. Beta questions are ones that they put on the exam and they're just testing them. They don't count towards your exam. They throw them out, but you'll never be able to know which ones these are. So don't even try this. That's really bad advice. The best, most, and least. So these are kind of like what we talked about, all, every, none, and so forth. So watch out for those as well. Your study plan is this course pretty much, but you may need some more work. So if you need more work, then make you a study plan, and I can help you with that if you need that. The brain dumps. These are not tested and vetted, so they can have a lot of wrong answers in them. And plus, it's really not ethical to use those, and CompTIA doesn't allow you to anyways. Know what type of learner you are. So like if you learn best through reading or the videos or whatever, make sure that you take advantage of your strong points. Build a computer or set up a network. Hands-on always is a good thing to do. Unfortunately, it's not exactly part of this class, but we do have the labs. But if you happen to be able to do this type of thing at home, that probably would be good experience. But performance-based questions, we've talked about these quite a bit so far. On these ones here, what I want you to do is go back to the site here, make sure you got a handle on these. And when you're actually doing them on the test, there will be a lot of things that you can click on, and it's hard to tell what's clickable and not because they don't illuminate them. So after you're all done figuring out what you're going to do and how you're going to answer this question on the test, if you've done excessive clicking, there'll be a reset button somewhere on the screen. Hit the reset button and then go in and just put the clicks that make it true, because I believe that they take off points or could possibly fail you for excessive clicking as guessing. So watch out for that. There's plenty of online communities, on Facebook and everywhere else. There's a bunch of places that you can join, and Reddit and so forth. Know the multiple choice tricks, so we kind of went through those, but there's a whole bunch of different tricks you can use. And then on the exam day, make sure that you're well rested, you're not hungry, dehydrated, and all that kind of stuff. So but this is a pretty good sheet. The only one I don't agree with is this skip the strange questions, so don't do that. Okay, so I'll have the lecture up once I finish the lecture. We'll post it right here. So let's see here. Next we have our book. So the certification summary is kind of where we're going to take a look at. So we have the dynamic host configuration protocol. This is where it automatically configures a workstation with the correct TCP/IP settings. That way you don't have to manually configure every workstation, which is nice. Then the domain name system is for internet-based machines and company intranets that use DNS for host name resolution. And we studied that host name, domain name resolution, internet domain server hierarchies. So basically what this does is it takes your www.homedepot.com and turns it into the IP address, and so you can get there. The Windows Internet name service WINS, which ironically has little to do with the internet, enables workstations to resolve NetBIOS names to IP addresses. So the NetBIOS name is just the name of the computer, and each computer is going to have an IP address. TCP/IP is a protocol suite of protocols, and they have TCP, UDP, IP, and ARP are some of the more common ones, and you will definitely get drilled on these on the test. So looking at the 2-minute drill here, we have TCP/IP. You have to know it's a suite of protocols, and TCP is used for connection-oriented communication, ensures delivery. It means it gets a notification back. You know, it's like using the post office and requesting a signature, basically. And UDP is for connection list, so you don't get that signature. You just put the stamp on it, mail it, and hope it gets there. Internet Control Message Protocol. It enables systems on a TCP/IP network to share status and error information. IP provides packet routing and delivery for all other protocols within the suite. ARP is used to provide IP address to physical address resolution. HTTP is used to deliver web pages from the server to the web browser, and HTTPS is the secure version of that, is what you should be using almost all the time. You can see that right up here, HTTPS. The Simple Mail Transfer Protocol is used to send mail over the internet. Post Office Protocol is the internet protocol for reading your email. POP is what it's called. POP3 is how you see it usually. The Internet Message Access Protocol is a protocol similar to POP3. It's used to retrieve messages from a mail server. The Simple Network Management Protocol is an internet standard that provides a simple method for remotely managing virtually any network device. And the File Transfer Protocol, FTP, is just a way to copy files from one computer to another. FTP should probably be done on an internal secure network and not over the internet because it's not secure. IPv6 fundamentals, you have a 128-bit address scheme versus the 32-bit scheme with IPv4. The reason for IPv6 is IPv4 started running out of internet addresses, so we needed more, and they came up with IPv6. So IPv6, you have 8 16-bit hexadecimal blocks with each block represented by the colon. And then the loopback address is going to be this big long thing, or you'll more commonly see it as this for the compressed address. And IPv6 addresses start with 2001. Our global addresses similar to the IPv4 public IP addresses. And the FE80 are local link addresses. So, all right. So we talked about DHCP, DNS, WINS. We hadn't touched on NAT yet. So NAT is responsible for hiding internal network addresses by configuring all systems to use the NAT system as the default gateway. So the NAT server will then change the source address of outgoing packets to its own external address, ensuring that all requests look as though they are coming from the NAT server. The NAT server will replace any responses and then send the response to the internal client, ensuring that no external system can communicate with internal systems. So it's just a way of isolating everything behind this NAT device. SMB is for file sharing protocol, Microsoft Networks, and it's used a lot with like printers and so forth to share printers. NFS is the file sharing protocol in Unix networks that allows Unix clients to access file systems on NFS servers. And AFP is Macintosh, so anything with Apple is going to use this AFP. Samba is a service that implements SMB on Unix servers. So SMB, we just talked about, is file sharing for Microsoft networks. So this is going to allow Unix servers to communicate with your Microsoft. So Unix and Microsoft can kind of communicate together. Self-test, I'll leave this for you to go over. And let's see, so our total tester again here, I don't think we have an assignment this week in that, nope, but feel free to use it. Our labs, so the labs we got, as we're going down through here, these are all the labs we'll have for the class, so keep up on that. Let's see here. Okay, so I've pulled some videos for you on DHCP, DNS, the WINS, and the TCP/IP stack. It has a video in here and has a lot of information on it, so a little bit more on that. Okay, we don't need that one. Here's another one for the TCP/IP, and I kind of liked this diagram here where it shows you how everything is happening and the reverse process. So the transmit and the receive are showed together there, and plenty to read on that. So, and here are your ports. So for the exam, you have to basically just memorize these. So port number, like 2021, is TCP, and it's file transfer protocol. And then you'll also have to know what file transfer protocol is and be able to apply it to something. So they could ask you to apply this. They could ask you what transport protocol it is. They could ask you which port numbers it is, and so forth. So, and these are some of the more common ones that show up on the exam. And I think what I'll do is I'll just post these links in the course for you. So looking ahead, we're going to have, I don't have the dates right yet on this, so don't pay attention to those. But for week 7, we'll have another just normal week where we're kind of doing the same stuff we've been doing. And then week 8 will be the midterm exam. It'll be in the Moodle here, and you'll have like 3 attempts to take it, and I'll take the highest score. It's open book, open notes, open everything, so you should do very well in it, I would think. Especially with 3 tries. And don't wait for me to grade it, because there's many of you and one of me, so feel free to take it as many times, the 3 times, right off the bat, and we'll take your highest score. Or you can wait for me to grade it and see how you did. Either way is fine. But okay, well, I think that brings us to the conclusion for today. So I know some people were having some problems with labs and so forth, and I'm going to try to work with you one-on-one on those and work those issues out. So let me know if you need anything. Feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. Other than that, have a super week, and I will talk to you soon.